All right, so in this problem, just making sure the microphone's on. This problem, they asked us to create the equation based on a table and then predict the CO2 concentration for the year 2025. So this is where we go back and we say, okay, it says let X represent the years after 2000. So 2000 is our starting. So that's technically like 0, 364. That's our initial order pair. And again, based on our lesson today, we said that in my equation of y equals c times a to the x power, we said that the c is equal to the y-intercept, or the starting amount, or the initial amount. So that means that I can rewrite this as y equals 364, and then it's times a to the x power. Now I have to figure out, well, what is a? What am I growing by? And again, this doesn't look, I can tell that it's multiplying, but I just don't know what crazy decimal it is. And so the safest way to go through and do this is to go ahead and pick the next ordered pair and then say that, okay, 467 is the answer, and I got 364 times a, and my x power would be basically 2050 minus 2000. So my x is equal to 50, is what I'm going to put there. So now I divide both sides by 364, and I get that. And so then now this is where it becomes a good calculator problem. So I have 467 over 364 is equal to a to the 50th power. So I need to take, now how do I undo the 50th power? I take the 50th root of a to the 50th. So I need to do the 50th root of 467 over 364. Again, not pretty, but I'll walk you through how to do that on the calculator. So a is equal to the 50th root. Sorry, I didn't know Mrs. Dyer was going to do a announcement while I recorded this video. I apologize for any of the clutter in the background. So let's get a calculator going. So I want to do the 50th root. So I'm going to go to the math button is where I'm going to go. And when I go to math, I'll notice option 5. Option 5 says X root. So that allows me to put whatever root I want to have. It allows me to put a number there. Again, a newer calculator, what it's going to do when I choose option 5, it's going to have a box for that root. So I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, let's type in the box in this generic thing here. We're going to type in 50 for that first box, and then we're going to type in our fraction of 467 over 364. Now, don't divide that fraction out and put in some decimal. Leave it as a fraction. So we're going to type in 50, arrow into the square root. Remember, the fraction button would be alpha y equals. That's the order. So alpha y equals gives me, and I say, okay, choose ND. So I press enter. That puts the fraction in there. Now let's type in 467 over 364. And then I get to hit enter. And that tells me that my A value is 1.004995946. Now, as we go to create the equation, we're going to go back and say, okay, do they tell me what to round to? Let's see. No, they don't tell me where to round to. So again, we can use that whole decimal. As I rewrite this, we're going to say, okay, y equals 364 times. I would at least go to where the 5 is and round the 5 to a 6. 1.004996, and then raise that to the x power. I feel that'll be comfortable to be accurate to enough decimal places based on what they're going to ask us. So then there's our equation. Now they ask for us in part B. They ask us, that's the part A. Part B, they ask us to say, okay, what if it was the year 2025? Well, 2050 minus 2025 is 25 years. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what is that amount kind of right in here? And that halfway between that. So with that in mind, so we're just going to go take our equation, let's shrink it up, and then we'll say, okay, what is y of 25? 25 years after it started. So that would be 364 times 1.004996 raised to the 25th power. So let's get to the calculator. 364. I would go ahead and put the time symbol there, and then it's 1.004996. Raise it, which is above the division sign, to the 25th power. Enter. And that tells me that it's going to be 412.297. And as I look, is that answer reasonable? Well, yeah, that answer is reasonable because that's in between 364 and 367 is what that's in. It's between that. It's not that far above it, so I didn't make any mistakes there and it didn't go below it. So 412, that's what the CO2 level is going to be.